Hi everybody, this is Katie. Welcome to episode 3 of season 7. We're working on the Wondrous Wild West, and today I am focused on the main strip of town. We have this big beautiful road, and I have these custom patterns that I've decided to use. I put a little swatch down. You can see I'm standing on what will be the base, so I'm using this beautiful gray wood pattern to be a little bit of a sidewalk type style. And there are 2 different patterns, so I kind of go every other block. And I've decided to bring that all the way up to the houses on both sides, the buildings both on the top of the road as well as the bottom. I think about Old West style towns, and they usually have these just plain dirt roads, and they have wood plank kind of sidewalk platforms that work up on the side. So this gray pattern I'm putting down right now is meant to resemble kind of the wood sidewalk style, and then the brick that I'm putting down in the middle is a little bit out of character for a Wild West theme, because it probably would usually just be dirt. But once the city grows a little bit, they would definitely want to pave it, and I love the pattern. I love the way that the pattern brings those beautiful kind of orange, peachy red type colors in place. I felt like it was a really polished and gorgeous pattern, and I wanted the road to look a little bit more interesting than just the dirt all by itself. So I'm using a little bit of creative expression to sort of make the road what I want it to be, but I don't think it's that far off, because eventually they would have paved these roads, and they would definitely have been some type of stone or brick in kind of the first stage. So we're gonna say that this is a Wild West town, but it's not the newest town, right? They've been out here on the frontier for a little while, and the town is starting to grow and come together. At least that's the story that I'm telling myself. So you can see as I'm putting the pattern down here, I have quite a few different options with this pattern that I downloaded, and I will put a link with the codes to this pattern in the description of the video so you can find and use it if you want. It's a really beautiful pattern because it has all of the corners on both the inset and the outset corner, which means that I can go any direction that I want to with this road. So I was able to turn all of the corners, and that's what I did first. I did the main side and corners, and then I just sort of stood in the middle and was able to just put all of the main pattern down pretty quick. It did still take a lot of time to get this pattern down into place. It is a lot of custom designs to get down where I'm looking for, but in the end, I still feel like it is the perfect kind of style and mood that I'm going for on the island. The villagers were out and just vibing along with me as I was doing patterns this day, and I love when they do that. It's so fun to see them. Here in between the Able sisters and the Nook store, I'm putting more of this wood plank platform because I really want to have a few places where I can put design up onto the sidewalk, because I'm putting together sort of an elaborate display of this street, and I wanted a few more buildings to be options in here. So I have custom designs that I downloaded and put onto some simple panels that are going up here on the cliff, and I'll put some kind of on the top as well, and I'm using the stalls in between some of these really beautiful wood patterns to kind of layer a different sort of illusion of all of the buildings that could potentially be here. So again, the city has been coming together, it's building up, and it's really starting to come into its own. And I really like the way that these particular patterns on the simple panels can kind of tilt up and look like they have some real intricacy to them. The next step that I was really excited to discover is the back of the camp sign is plain wood. And I adore the way that this works in kind of a Western style. I was thinking about fences or things that could really help block off the area, and while there are some wooden fences, I like the way that these are bigger. The camp sign was just a really good fit for this background. It gave me something that was taller and beautiful to sort of settle in the spaces that I was working on. And I really feel as if it looks like it's the kind of fence that would be part of some big ranch or out, back west West type of style, so it was a really good fit. I was also pleased that once you have it from playing Pocket Camp, you can just order it over and over again. So it was easy for me to get a hold of a ton of the camp signs, and I love the wood texture. It fit. I was really excited about the idea. I kind of thought about it when I was doing something else and had put it down to use for something else and put it down backwards and thought, oh, the back of this sign, it has potential. So it maybe is silly and you guys will think it's strange, but I liked it, so I went with it. You can see here as I'm just kind of moving up and down the street, I do a lot of just little adjusting and putting things down. I'm working kind of in a wide area for this particular episode and covering a huge amount of space. So we have a lot of custom patterns, but I spent a lot of time just sort of filling in custom patterns into different spots to sort of create the feel of the Wild West space. There are a few areas that have very specific themes. Over here by Sylvana's house, I'm putting together what is going to be just like a little outdoor cafe type of space. And then here in front of Kyle's house, I'm putting together a little bit of a blacksmith type of station. It was nice to put a workbench there too, because I was able to use it as I was customizing items. And I like the way that some of these places look like they could sort of be part of the society and culture that existed back then. It was fun to see the difference too in the wood and the brick when I started putting the country fencing down and filling in with all the details. I had a ton of pirate barrels. I've turned the barrels all around so the pirate thing is on the back, and some of the items may not be a perfect fit for a Western style, but they just sort of felt like they had the right color or the right type of sort of vibe to them. So that was all I was going for. Did I feel like it fit, whether it made sense or not? And you can see how I put that rocking chair in front of the Able sisters. I was giggling about that because there are probably not going to put the rocking chair in the middle of town, but I just thought it would be so cute. I could imagine the Able sisters coming out and sitting and rocking in the chair while they were, you know, waiting for a customer to come into their clothing shop. So it was kind of sweet. And then I did put together a lot of these just little wood toys and things that could go out and look like they were kind of from an era of time when wood would have been the main thing they used to build those type of things. So here you can see I'm just doing some of the detail work. Once I get all the layout in place, that's like step one, right? I know where everything's going to be. Step two is this detailing. So I've gone back over, I filled my pockets up full of stuff, and I'm just kind of coming along and I'm moving up and down the street very methodically to get everything in place. And I do a lot of moving and adjusting and just kind of deciding where I want things to be. You'll see I'm putting in the street lamps. Now, I am going to say that these street lamps are a candle wick street lamp or maybe gas. Clearly they wouldn't be electric, but I really like the way that the brown street lamps have this beautiful color tone to them that fits perfectly for the Wild West theme that I'm going for. And they also have the ability to make it look like a street. When you put a street lamp in, it makes it look like a street that I'm walking up and down. I know that's a novel idea, but I really like the way that it worked. And so I do quite a few of the brown street lamps, and I'm going back and forth with the country fencing and the barbed wire fencing in a few places, and just back and forth. You can see a lot of little details, and a huge part of it is starting to put the custom designs down on the ground. I'm using the wood and dirt and brush and cactus type of patterns that I put together back and forth with a few of the flowers that have really good red, orange, and brown tones to them, as well as some of the weeds. And I love the way that the weeds look when you're in the fall, so I definitely am going to stay in the fall for the island because they kind of have that wheat brush type of look to them that's perfect. So over here in front of Resident Services, I'm just putting down a little bit of a podium. I felt like that would be such a good place to have the mayor come and kind of give speeches as he's talking to everybody. But in the end, I did shuffle up the area a little bit and just kind of added some flowers to make it a little bit prettier. This step in the design took forever to do. Basically, every single bit of space is being covered up by something, and so I have either items that are set out or I'm going through it, and like I was saying, I'm back and forth, dirt, brush, stone, cactus, item, object, flower, weed, just in combinations, and I didn't want them to look too planned out. I wanted it to look a little bit chaotic, so it was fun to just sort of play around and put things back and forth. So I just kind of moved down and put a bunch together, and I did this for the entire area surrounding this main strip. All right, everybody, here is how it finally came together. Once everything is in place, you can see that brick path that's so beautiful, all the different items and clutter, the buildings kind of going into the background a little bit. T-Bone just down the street, so cute. Over here in the cafe, I think Sylvana would probably run a beautiful cafe in a little Wild West town. And you can see how the weeds and everything coming up, scorpion in place, just make it look a little bit of a rough and tumble type of style. And just a lot of beautiful design. I did have a little more space down here, so I put a well. I felt like that would be really good here. And I have added a couple custom sign designs just to add in a little bit of character in front of a couple of the shops. I'm also using some of the bugs that you can get when you do the bug off, and we've got kind of the cockroach and the little centipede that are just down in a few places as well. And I have the wood, bush, and little brush grass standees that are customized to fall, and I really like the way that they sort of stand up and look when you're going through the area too. Down over here, I finished some of the area that's right near the villager houses, but kind of in front and behind the space is going to be something else. So we'll get back to the rest of that design later. Over here with the general store and just kind of layering, again, the items back and forth. I love how you can tilt up and see a little bit more in the distance. I was really excited to see this street come together. I hope you guys found something useful here and that you continue creating in this game. Until next time, have the best Animal Crossing day.